Democrats hoping to unseat President Trump in the 2020 election. The Senator Kirsten Gillibrand sharing her regrets over what she described as her formerly callous views on immigration, and Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard apologizing for what she called her past offensive and hurtful statement about the LGBTQ community. And as Politico puts it, while White House aspirants have long sought to dispense with unflattering elements of their records, the velocity of the party's leftward shift has Democratic hopefuls scrambling to catch up, making remorse an early staple of the campaign. A lot of folks nodding their head on this panel. Joining the panel is Danielle Moody Mills, host of Woke AF on Sirius XM. And Danielle, you kind of agree with what Politico was saying?
I do. I mean, look, here's the thing. All of these people, they have all been members of conservative districts, right? And what politicians do is that they play to their districts. At the time, Kirsten Gillibrand was coming from upstate New York. Yep. Upstate New York looks very different than downstate, right? Yep. Has a different demographic makeup. And so what played there is not going to play around the country now that you have the 116th Congress, which is more reflective of America, that has embraced the progressive stance that Kirsten Gillibrand is only new to in the past several years that she's been serving in the Senate. That was not her route, right? Yeah. But it's what she's grown into. And I think that that's fine for people to grow and evolve.
You got to admit, though, you have several Democratic candidates who have come out a little bit stumbling, starting out slow and then hoping to taper off. What's the plan there?
Well, yeah, I agree with everything that you said, and I would add also this piece. A lot of these apologies are reflective of bad policies, in my opinion, that disproportionately impacted vulnerable communities and communities of color. So I'm happy to see that those communities have enough agency to be able to push these candidates to actually do make these very public apologies. But I think you're going to be seeing a lot more of that on this campaign trail. We are really early in the cycle, but nonetheless, it has begun. And as more of the sort of past voting histories and such come up both in transcript and on video, I think you're going to be seeing so much more of this. And it's also going to keep a lot of people from actually getting into the race.
And Kwame, before you weigh in, I do want to show that there's a little bit of positive sign we should point out for the Democrats in the polling right now. It appears to seem as if they have a fighting chance. According to this recent poll right now from PBS NewsHour and NPR, 57% say they're definitely voting against President Trump, with 30% saying they're definitely voting for him, 13% still unsure 2 years out. That's a good thing?
Yeah, there's a tailwind, and there's a great that there's a tailwind, and that tailwind is against Trump. The question is, who do we put in place to kind of maximize that tailwind, the biggest sail that captures that velocity, right? And for me, the biggest sail that captures that velocity is someone who definitely can beat Trump, someone who can magnetize and energize and get the base to come out and vote and match that same energy that you see from President Trump. And then lastly, someone who can shore up the Democratic base and has the charisma to move people. If we do not put someone forward that has those characteristics, we are handing the election back to Donald Trump.
Who's that person?
Oh, for me, it's Beto O'Rourke. For me, it's Beto O'Rourke and Kamala Harris. Yes.
And you guys, Basil, you're not even going to go there on the potential 2020.
I don't have a ticket yet.
You don't have a ticket as yet. I mean, it is 2 years from the next inauguration.
But this is our job.
It is, exactly.
Call it early.
That said, what was Gavin Newsom up to? I mean, he just got inaugurated.
Yeah.
And then there are these ads, Facebook ads, which is what a lot of the 2020 candidates are doing, that are being posted in Ohio, in Iowa, in Wisconsin, a lot of swing states. What's happening here?
We have an open field, right? Okay. So everybody is going to throw their hat into the race.
He just got inaugurated.
Exactly. But, there's no time like the present when you have a current job to think about your next job, right? And that is exactly what every single Democrat is doing right now. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about a field that can have, if AOC, if Alexandria Ocasio wasn't 29 and she was 35, we would see her hat being thrown in the race, or at least being talked about and being considered, right? This is an open field. So, yeah, he just got a job in California, but he's thinking, hey, why not place my bets? Because like we're saying right now, I don't see anybody in the field right now that I'm willing to, say, yes, they should be on the ticket. They should be the top of the ticket. They can take on Trump. I don't see that yet.
It also, and I think it also very quickly anticipates the fact that the field is going to be so large. So you want to get your name out early, fundraising, staffing. California in and of itself is an earlier state in the primary cycle more so than it used to be. So that could weigh into it quite as well. But I'm also wondering why we're only seeing white males do this, because there are some really credible African American candidates or women who actually won their offices that they were running for that we're not spending enough time talking about.
You have Julian Castro, but there was that report asking why Beto when he lost and not Stacey.
From Yahoo.
And this
the greatest article.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it talked about how we perceive our leaders. How do we see ourselves and then reflect that into our leadership, whether someone is overweight or someone is short or tall or aesthetically pleasing, and then also the whole male-female dynamic. So that says a lot about us as much as it does about Beto and Stacey.
That indeed. I completely agree. All right. Kwame Jackson, thank you for being here.